message. So if we'll bow our heads, dear Lord, give us time for patience, time for understanding, time to remember, thoughtful deeds to do, time to believe in our fellow man, and time to perceive the value of being a Rotarian. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So like I said, we have a packed agenda today. Couple of things to recap from week one is, if you haven't already, go into DACDB and click on district and then district files and look under District Governor Paul Walter's name. You will see the membership event application for a grant to help you with your membership growth this year. And I want to congratulate and commend the Rotary Club of Bluffton and the Rotary Club of Myrtle Beach for taking the initiative and jumping on that event grant application and submitting those already. Congrats to you guys and look forward to your events. Also under there, Paul's name is in the membership files is the entrance interview. Please start using that when you onboard your new members. Reach out to me with any questions and any input. If you have something that you would like to add to that interview, please do share those thoughts, and it's an ongoing process. So we'll be happy to add or subtract anything you feel is necessary to that entrance interview. It's my pleasure today to introduce and have with us our Zone 33 Rotary Coordinator, Patrick Eakes from is it Rotary Club of Greensboro, Patrick?
I'm in the Crescent Rotary Club in Greensboro.
Crescent, sorry. And also joining Patrick today is our Zone 33 Innovative Club Advocate, Chris Jones. So I will turn it over to Patrick and Chris, and you guys take it away.
Thank you so much, Digit. It's a treat to be with you all today. I was in your district last weekend to experience some of that good low country heat in Pawleys Island. So it's good to be back with you on the line. Chris and I are really pleased to be able to have a chance to talk to you today about growing Rotary, which is a fancy way of reminding us that we know that we're always going to have some members who depart from our great organization, and we want to always be focused on creating new pathways into Rotary, new ways to reach our community and for our community to be able to be a part of our organization. So as Digit said, I'm the Rotary Coordinator, which gives me responsibility for membership across our zone. And our zone stretches from Western Pennsylvania down to the South Carolina-Georgia line on your southern border. And Chris Jones preceded me as the Rotary Coordinator. And together we're the Zone Innovative Club Advocates. So we're very, very focused on this innovative club movement. And we want to start things off today by showing you what I think is probably the best video that I've ever seen out of Rotary International. It really describes what this innovative club advocate movement is about. So Chris, I'll ask you to cue that up.
As Rotary, we often ask ourselves, how do we grow personally, professionally, and organizationally? The answer is simple. To grow Rotary, we need more Rotary clubs. Let's use Anytown as an example. Anytown is a city of 100,000 people and home to one proud Rotary club. But there are hundreds of other people of action, just like us, who are uniquely qualified to become Rotary members. They share the same drive and represent the values and fundamentals of a Rotary member. So why aren't they members? Well, the current club meets on Monday. There are leaders in Anytown who can't meet on a Monday. By excluding this segment, the potential members in Anytown has shrunk. Now consider, what if the meeting is at noon on Monday? There are people who can meet on Monday, but can't meet at noon. So now we have a smaller audience for Rotary in Anytown. Of the remaining group, some aren't interested in a club with a sit-down lunch and speakers. They are passionate about service, but aren't interested in a traditional club experience. And that is okay. The Rotary Club of Anytown isn't doing anything wrong. It just doesn't appeal to particular segments of the community. And if we're going to thrive for years to come, we must adapt and embrace change. In Anytown, we have an opportunity to expand because potential members are everywhere. More than half of the eligible people are prospective Rotary members, waiting to make a bigger impact in their community. But what Rotary Club exists for them? If Anytown creates new clubs at new times and new places, the hidden potential for Rotary will be revealed. As people of action, we must broaden our reach and provide opportunities to all leaders in the community. Together, all of us can grow Rotary.
Patrick, thanks for sharing that video from Rotary, and I tend to agree with you that it's one of the best videos that I've seen come out of the training department there, and you know, it really speaks to a lot of points, and I want to key in on some of those. First of all, the world is changing, and is changing rapidly, and we in Rotary, as Rotarians and leaders, have to adapt to meet the needs of our potential members while retaining our legacy club models. And I think the video did a good job of describing that. But really, what does this mean? Well, what it really comes down to is new types of clubs, and these are innovative type clubs, clubs that meet the needs of our emerging leaders that are within our community. Because let's face it, the world of our community leaders is very different than it was even 10 years ago, much less 20 or 30 years ago. So we have to adapt and change our models to make sure that we're meeting their needs. And we can accomplish this by establishing alternative meeting times and location clubs. So I'm going to get into this a little bit more deeply. If we approach this from a business perspective, as customers' needs change, organizations will produce new product solutions so that customers continue their loyalty to that organization's brand. And that's what we're doing here in Rotary, is building loyalty to Rotary's brand by developing these new club model solutions that our potential members are looking for and quite honestly need. And let's see, are we moving on here? There we go. So think about this for a minute. In 1908, 3 years after Rotary was born, Ford introduced the Model T. Now, over the years, Ford has evolved and created many new car models, and these models were designed to meet the changing needs of its customer base. Rotary started in 1905, and for the most part, our club model has stayed basically the same. We're now in 2021, and the needs and desires of our customers have changed too. And so our club models, membership types, meeting delivery, et cetera, must also change so that we're able to meet the needs and desires of our current and prospective club members. Rotary has enjoyed great success with our traditional club model, and that will continue. But like Ford, who has many different models to choose from, we also have to transform Rotary with different models as well. So here's a slide about some ideas for different types of Rotary clubs that are out there. And these are just a sampling of the different types of clubs that are available. We're already seeing some great movement throughout our zone on several of these models. And I have to tell you, Zone 33 is one of the leaders in North America in terms of creating these new alternative type clubs. And quite a few of these have gained great traction. We have some incredible opportunities to create new and innovative club models that will attract many community leaders to Rotary. I want to tell you a story about what happened just recently in my home club. After meeting with our club's membership committee about the innovative club models, one of our membership committee members immediately stepped up and said that he had spoken to an acquaintance, and the acquaintance name is Zach, about joining our club some months ago. He was a perfect candidate, and his mom was even a past Rotarian, but he had declined the invitation for several reasons. And listen to some of these reasons. Number one, the dues were too high. In other words, he didn't perceive the value of what the due structure was. The attendance policy was too rigid. And of course, nowadays we don't have that attendance policy. He couldn't attend a morning club due to family obligations, and a lunchtime club just really took away from his business obligations and didn't work for his schedule. He does have a strong desire to perform service in his community, and while he enjoys speaking a speaker occasionally, that really wasn't how he saw himself spending an hour in Rotary every single week. He was fearful of having to do any public speaking himself, and he desired a more informal setting with a lot less ritual in the club. And he desired the ability to meet in different locations periodically, which I think is an interesting point. We'll get to that here in a second. And these were all great points that we were able to address in a follow-up meeting with Zach just recently. His dues, in terms of dues, with a no meal type club, the dues are very reasonable, roughly $25 a month. With no attendance requirements by Rotary anymore, he showed a big sigh of relief. And I got to tell you, you could actually see him physically, show that relief. With an alternative meeting type club, we are able to establish time that meets the needs of our potential members based on their schedules. So what my club did in this case was we created a new alternative meeting time club. We call it the Full Circle Club, and it's full circle because each one of the members takes turns in running a different service project every single month. This Full Circle Club doesn't do a weekly speaker. And we explained about our new alliance with Toastmasters to address the public speaking concerns that Zach had. When he learned about this, he was very excited and committed to going into the Rotary's Learning Center and learning more about the alliance that Rotary and Toastmasters have, and so that he could take on and self-educate himself about becoming better at public speaking. When we explained to him that the Full Circle Club was less formal, no rituals, he came back with no problem. And meeting in different locations, we explained how Rotary started way back in the original days of the 4 founding members who rotated from office to office, which is how Rotary got its name. And he liked that idea quite a bit. And that's what the Full Circle Club is doing today. At the end of all of this, he was stoked. He not only indicated that he was interested, but he joined the Full Circle Club, and he's one of the leaders inside that club today. But this is just a prime example of an individual who had a desire to join Rotary, but we didn't have a model that fit his needs. And with these new models, we can absolutely meet that. So now is the time to take action. And it is time for us to test new approaches and prepare for Rotary's future. I absolutely believe we have the talent among us to get this done. So let's bring Patrick back into our presentation so he can give you more of an update. Patrick?
Like everything in Rotary, this effort, growing Rotary, requires a team. When we got into polio decades ago, that required a team. That team has grown now to be a worldwide alliance and team. This Innovative Club Advocate team that Chris and I have assembled includes folks in your district. Your district is represented by past Governor Gary Bradham. And on Gary's team, he has Susan Bradham, interestingly with the same last name, of course, and Sandy Olson, who is on this call and who many of you already know. And I believe that Gary is recruiting a couple of other folks. This is a zone-wide effort, but we're really focused in on 7770, on your district, and the team that Gary is assembling to be able to tackle this effort of growing Rotary. It absolutely is going to take everybody pulling together to make this work. Chris?
Thanks, Patrick. And Gary and the rest of the team that has been formed here in District 7770, we're looking forward to the great results you all are going to provide during this Rotary year and beyond. So what this all really comes down to is we need you. Everybody that's in this meeting here today, you're on this call because you're an influencer. You know Rotary and you know people. We need to help snuff out the myth, a new club will steal from mine. The statistics just don't support that. And really, as a percentage of their local populations, almost all markets have only 0.1% penetration or less. Think about that. That gives us almost a 99.9% opportunity of market to go out to and talk to folks about becoming a Rotarian in a model that works for them. So we call all this innovative because it's going to serve new groups. We're asking you to help us find the pockets of leaders and community builders so that we can help them improve their impact. They're hiding in plain sight, but we need your help to see them. Rotary is growing everywhere. You know, we stay 1.2 million strong only because other areas grow as North America shrinks. All of us have made changes and have embraced innovation during this pandemic, as evidenced by our zone seminars and RI presidential conference that we just held recently. But we need to take it to a new level. North America is more divided than it has been for decades, and Rotary is known for its ability to heal those divides, to build community. If there is a time when building communities is crucial, it is now. Rotary has a great part to play in that process, and we're asking you to help us find those people who can make a difference, who can have that interest in making things better, and who need an organization that can expand their impact. As I said before, we need you to get involved with innovative clubs. You've heard today from Patrick and myself, and you're going to have an opportunity to hear from Patrick Longano in a little bit about really what impact is all about. Let me just add to these comments to say that you know, we've had, as I said, great success over this last year of working on this innovative club advocacy program, and we're proud to say that Zone 33 is leading North America in opening new innovative clubs. While we did not see a membership growth as a zone last year, we saw a minimal amount of loss, and the majority of our loss really came down to the fact that we just didn't attract enough people. Ironically, our attrition last year was less than it had been in any year previously. Think about that. We lost fewer people than we had in any year previously. We just didn't attract enough folks to overcome that loss. These innovative club opportunities are one of these silver bullets. It's not the silver bullet, but it's one of the silver bullets that we can use to really create growth in Rotary. And let me finish up by saying this. Why does it matter? This is not about Rotarians and numbers. This is all about creating more service in our communities. We can't do what we do without members. You can't automate it. You can't put a computer in front of it. We provide one-on-one personalized service to our communities locally and globally. And that's why we need more Rotarians, because we don't want to be the last generation of Rotarians that are providing that level of difference in those communities. Patrick, I'll turn it back to you.
Oh, I had to unmute. As Chris said, we need all of you involved. We know you're here on a Friday morning because you care about membership, you're passionate about membership, and we're trying to encourage you to get involved with this innovative club effort, because attracting new Rotarians, being able to reach into our communities in ways that we've not been able to in the past is going to be critical to this effort. So that's really what we had prepared for you all today. We would be happy to take any questions or comments or your ideas. I think, Digit, I think we have a few minutes for that time, right?
We do, and we do have one question that was sent to me. Can you or Chris kind of give us an outline of what that club looks like in terms of how many members does it take to start the club and what that structure looks like?
That club meaning an innovative club in general?
Yes.
So a standalone Rotary club to charter requires 20 members. And a satellite club, or as you'll hear coming up, a companion club, as it's sometimes called, requires 8 members to officially charter. But we encourage forming clubs, especially those that are satellites or companions. You know what, they can be unofficial. I mean, you may start with 3 or 4 or 5 people meeting at an alternative time, alternative place. They can grow into those 8. Satellite clubs are still, those members are still members of their sponsoring club. So whether they're official or not, it's fine to go ahead and start meeting and to have that build. And then if they wish to charter once they reach 8, that's perfectly fine.
Mary Briggs, you have a comment?
I do. I'm a firm believer that setting goals are necessary to achieve what you want to achieve. So this year, we have a goal of a net increase of 20 new members. And in the month of July, we have added 5 new members. We have 8 on deck for August. And it's not just 20 new members, it is an increase in diversity, people of color. So of that 13 that we should have new members by the end of August, 4 will be people of color. So again, I think everything we're talking about here is important, but if you don't set a goal and a very specific goal, I'm not sure you're going to get there. So I just want to add that particular component. We also are working on a cause-based satellite club or group. So that's an exciting new thing to work on.
Mary,
That's awesome, Mary. I really like the fact that you're talking about diversity and inclusion. I think that's one way that we could grow Rotary and grow our service to the community, is looking more like the community that we live in. So I commend you and Hilton Head for taking a look at that. And I would encourage everyone across the state to take a look at your diversity and how you can improve on that.
and I would add, Mary, you spoke to diversity in terms of some of the things we can see pretty easily, you know, like ethnicity, for instance. But I encourage you to think of types of diversity that you may not be able to see as well. Diversity of experience, diversity of skill set, diversity of sexual preference. There are all kinds of things you don't immediately see. But when we have, when our collective thoughts come from different areas, it certainly allows us to be stronger. And as we talked about, it allows us to reach parts of our community that we're probably missing right now. So I salute you for what you're doing. It sounds like you're off to a very fast start.
Great, thank you.
Cleve, Ham, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I just appreciate it good and appreciate everyone's thoughts today. This is kind of a 3-part thing, but one is, have you all noticed any, what do we do to overcome? There is I feel some resistance in clubs to changing the legacy format or to adding to it in what y'all talking about. And I just wonder if y'all have encountered any of this type of resistance and how we combat that resistance to change. I think one concern people may think, and this was my second component of my question, will we lose legacy people by doing this? I don't think we do, but just a question that may come up. And the third is, where do we go to find examples of clubs, concrete, real examples of clubs, like you've just mentioned one today, that we can literally look at and present to leadership and say, here's what it actually looks like, rather than just a concept?
So I'll take your first couple of questions, Cleve, relative to the legacy clubs. We're not suggesting that you take an existing club and change its model, unless that club wants to make those changes. So at the end of the day, the Rotary clubs are autonomous. They do have to follow the Rotary Constitution and all the components that are in the Constitution, but the Constitution refers back to our code of policy and our manual of procedure. And all of our code of policy and manual of procedure have added a lot of flexibility in terms of what the clubs are required to do. That flexibility has also taken out a lot of the rigidity of what was required for clubs to do. And that happened in 2016 at the Rotary Council on Legislation, which I was proud to be a part of. In terms of adding new types of clubs as satellites or companion clubs, I think when you hear Patrick Longano talk today, you're going to see a model that works very well. And Patrick's had great success in bringing that type of model throughout various districts in the zone. You also, I believe, have had a couple of clubs in your district that have already opened, and I would encourage Sandy and Gary to update you on those clubs right there. But I will talk about a district just to your north, District 7730, who opened up 3 brand new clubs this past year that were all cause-based. One example is a club, actually this first one is more interest-based than cause-based. They opened up a club that was focused on Rotarians that like scouting. And here's the great thing about that club. That club has an international presence, and they even got a Rotary International staff member to be a part of that club. And the interest of that club went all throughout Rotary. And Holger Knack, the RI president last year, actually was a component of the induction ceremony for that brand new club. So, and right after that club chartered, and I mean right after, they spun off a Rotaract club that was all focused around scouting. So they get the benefit of doing everything around scouting, and they get to leverage all the things that Rotary brings to them to do service projects. How much better does it get than that? So that's one example. Another example is a club that was focused on child abuse. And actually the prevention of child abuse. And they pulled together a lot of constituents, not only locally, but it then expanded out past the district. They meet online. And they had a number of members that got started. By the way, the scouting club started with 39 members, and I believe they're right about 54 right now. So it just continues to grow. This prevention of child abuse, again, started at around 20 members and has continued to grow. And then the third type of club that they opened up is a club that's focused on Peace Fellows. And these are all the folks that have gone through the Peace Fellowship out of Raleigh. And by the way, if you can have peace between Raleigh and Duke, you can have peace anywhere in the world. But nonetheless, this club got started, and they're getting great traction in terms of that. And I know in Raleigh, they had a strong interest in starting a club focused around the Peace Corps, folks that have been in the Peace Corps. I don't know how much traction they've gotten, but they also created another club focused on social justice. And, that was a big topic of conversation over the last 12 to 15 months. And they got a lot of great traction out of that, got some great speakers, a lot of activity involved, and they've been doing some things in the community. So I would say that the world is your oyster in terms of creating these clubs of niche focus. Because you're going to get people that have a true passion to serve in those areas, and to be able to take the values and the benefits and the value proposition that Rotary offers and extend it out into the community. So don't limit your thought process in terms of staying with the traditional club, because the traditional club is great. We've had great success since 1905 with that. However, we have a let's just call it 99.9% world of opportunity out there to create different types of clubs that fall into what Rotary has to offer. And I'm sorry, that was a very long-winded answer to your question.
It was a fantastic answer. And we think this is very important, because the issues like you brought up, to barriers to membership of all those people who want to join Rotary but can't, requires changes in thinking about time of meetings and cost and everything else. So thank you so much.
And Cleve, I'll add to that. I think, Patrick, I may be getting off base here, so you can tell me to shut down if you want. But I think our biggest club risk out there right now are our lunchtime clubs. And if you think about it, lunchtime, it's not an hour meeting. You've got a half hour before to get there. You got some socializing that happens before the meeting. After the meeting's over, you got some fellowship and socialization that happens. Then you got your commute to get back to the office. So 1 hour turns into a lot of times 2.5 to 3 hours. In today's busy world, people that want to join Rotary don't have that kind of time to dedicate to a Rotary Club meeting. We have got to become innovative and think about those in our community that want to join but just can't get away at lunchtime. And we have a large quantity of lunchtime clubs. We also have a whole cadre of people like teachers and firefighters and police that would love to be a part of Rotary, but the timing doesn't work. So we've got to create models that work for them. I'll give you one other example, and this was a corporate type of club in England, and I happened to be working over in England and watched this come to happen for a period of time. And they opened up a Rotary Club inside of Rolls-Royce. And so at lunchtime at Rolls-Royce, a whole bunch of people that work in the corporate headquarters and in the factory all come together and they do Rotary. So, any industry that you have in your district, there's an opportunity to open a Rotary Club right there on site. So again, don't limit yourselves to what you think a Rotarian or a Rotary Club should be. you know, as long as they're following the 4-way test, paying their dues and doing service, they fit. I mean, that's really what our club constitution says.
And I'm gonna jump in for a quick 20 seconds to add to that, and then I know you're gonna cut us off, Digit. I'm working in Eastern North Carolina, working with a high school that plans to open a satellite club at the high school that'll meet Thursdays at 3:30 for principals, assistant principals, teachers, guidance counselors, and staff. I said, you don't have to have a meal. Meet it Thursday at 3:30. There's no rule against that, and that's what they're working on. I think it's a great model.
That's
We have
perfect.
one more question from Rob Dewey.
I leave it to me to stir it up. I appreciate expanding my thoughts and horizons, but you know, I've seen this happen in other organizations. I'm almost 70 at this point, and my concern about what's being said, and I may be the only one on here. My concern is, are we trying to be everything to everybody? And what are we called to do? And I think that if you try and spread it out too far, too much, that that this could lose.
Great question, Rob, and appreciate you and Cleve teeing this up for me, because the person we're getting ready to listen to now is tackled all of those questions and has a great outline of how to make it work for you. Today we have, and thank you, Patrick Eakes and Chris Jones, for joining us today and that great discussion. I really appreciate everything y'all do for us at the zone level. But everybody today, I want to introduce Patrick Longano. He is from the Rotary Club of Lenoir, North Carolina, and he has started what's called Impact by Rotary in his area. And he's done exactly what you guys have questions about. So Patrick, I'll let you take it away.
I always do that. I always forget to take myself off of mute. It's always great to start a talk where you're like, so I appreciate everybody being here, and it's very tough to follow Patrick Eakes and Chris Jones, the gurus of this stuff, but also because they're very, very polished speakers, and I am not. I am here to kind of pump you up on something and explain what I do. I'm a very kind of excitable guy. I am in the car business up here in Lenoir, North Carolina, and I'm married. My wife's name is Angela, who is a Rotarian, and my son, who's in his second year of law school at UNC, is also an Impact member. But I wanted to thank Digit and everybody for having me here today. I am so happy to see Sandy Olson on here. I got to meet Sandy in person for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and it's like the experience you would believe that it is. So she's just a rock star in my book. I just love seeing her on here. But I want to tell you a little bit about Impact, just a little bit. Impact is a service-based club, okay? I hear a lot of people go, is that the club that doesn't have meetings? Well, yeah, we don't have official meetings at official times, but we do meet. We meet at our service projects. We've embraced technology with sending out service opportunities to our members, and we meet at our service projects. Just the other day, I was serving with the mayor of Lenoir, who was a charter member of our Caldwell County Club and quit Rotary over 20 years ago, and we got him back in using the Impact model. Impact started when I was in Rotary at the beginning of the aughts. And because of time constraints, being in the car business, having to drive out to the country club and coming back, it took, 2.5 hours to do it. And I was unable to do it. I got back in Rotary in 2017, and lo and behold, I saw the same problems that we had at the beginning of the thing, and I just can't stand that. That club, when I left the club in 2002, they had 125 members, and July 1st of this year, the traditional club has 37 active and 9 R85 actives. As a matter of fact, we all know that attrition happens, but we all should agree that it accelerates. At the beginning of the 2018-2019 year, the traditional club in my hometown went from 86 They had 86 active and active R85s, and now they're down to 46. They lost 40 members in the last 3 years. I'm going to tell you what Impact is most. Impact is what I call a companion club. Okay. I don't like the word satellite. I think it's a negative term. I think when people think about it, they think a lot of bad things. First of all, if I'm the president of a club and I got 1 year to change my club, and somebody comes up and says, hey, can you sponsor a satellite club in the next town over? Here's my first 8 members. We're going to build it to 22. You're going to do all of the work. And then I'm going to take those members and go somewhere else. People have a tendency to just go, you know, that just doesn't spark my interest to be doing that in my 1 Rotary year. So what I did was I thought about some of the biggest challenges. What can I do? Can I do this inside my own traditional club? And what I came out with was the answer was no. I didn't believe that I could change the culture, nor did I think it was right. There are some people in my club who have 40 years perfect attendance, and that is important to them. So that means it's important to me, and they should be allowed to do the things that are important to them. But what was important to me was growing and giving people an opportunity, making what I call the tent bigger. Okay. I like to use an example. I like pie. Who here likes pie? Does anybody like pie? Okay, I like pie. Blueberry's my favorite. That's where I'm at. But I'm going to show you something real quick. I didn't mean to do this right quick, but you know, we hear all about these innovative clubs. Okay, and if they're standalone models, that's fantastic. That's great for Rotary. But if they're satellite club models that will branch off, I'm not quite sure I'm on the same page with Chris and Patrick on this, or with Rotary quite yet. My job, my number one job, is to build membership for my traditional club. Okay. My traditional club comes first. All right. That's the reason why we call it a companion model. Well, how can I build membership in that model if people aren't interested in going to the meetings and doing all the traditional type of things right now? Okay. Well, I look at the biggest piece of the pie. And as a salesperson, I say, what can I sell? And now I like the veterans clubs and I like the cause-based clubs. And I think those are fantastic ideas for maybe some standalone clubs, but they work in certain situations and they work in certain towns and areas. Okay. But they get you, let's just say the Rotary Club of Friendship Knot. That's a great club. I think that's that's the Boy Scout club. They're getting they can recruit from this biggest piece of pie. That's the pie that they can get. Now, as you can see by the size of me, I like more pie than that. Okay. So what I did is I said, how can I get this biggest piece of the pie? And it's just the most simple thing in the entire world. Service. We are the premier service organization in the world. Nobody will argue that fact. Nobody at all. So all you have to do is sell that you are the biggest service organization in the world. And when you ask people, my opening line when I talk to people, I say, do you believe it is your duty as a member of this community to give back to this community through customer or through service? I haven't had one person say no to me. And as soon as they say yes, you say, let me tell you about an opportunity. And then that's when I go into the opportunity about what impact is. But make no mistake about it. I've been pressured, pulled, maligned for not making this a standalone club. Okay. I mean, I've had 2 district governors going, you've got 80 people. You need to do a standalone club. And I said, no, I'll resign from Rotary before I make it a standalone club. It is a companion club model. And I have to fight some of my traditional club models. I'm glad Dewey, Chaplain Dewey down there brought that up. We have to come together on this to make the traditional club model and the companion club model work. Okay. So it builds our traditional clubs. It is not a new innovative club model. It is not any of that. It is a way to build your traditional club. Okay. Now there's a lot of people in Rotary that will come down and say, we want you to do this, but they don't tell you how to do it. Does anybody know how to form a satellite club right off the top of their head? Companion club? Nope. And I will tell you this, it took me 9,000 years to do this because the form to fill out for a satellite club was made in 1996 and has nothing to do with a companion club or a satellite club now. And they're like, oh, just fill it out and send it in. I'm like, how about just making a new form? You know what I mean? So those are the things that we're having to deal with. So I'm not interested in telling you to take a first step. I'm interested in trying to help you take the first step, take the second step, take the third step, all the way through, because that's how you're going to be able to build your traditional club through this companion club model. We started at the end of June in District Governor Tiffany Irvin. How many people know Tiffany here? Yeah. I mean, I'm slow compared to Tiffany. She's awesome. But she brought, we started with our first 8 members at the end of her year. But then I found out that we actually weren't recognized by RI. So I went through all of that and actually had to send in the information in September. So I think Chris brought up that you don't have to be official. You don't have to have an official satellite or a companion club. You don't have to make it official through RI. I strongly urge you to make it official. I love what Mary said, Ms. Briggs from Hilton Head, that you have to have a goal in mind. And I told everybody what my goal was last year, 75 members, and they patted me on the head and said, oh, good job. Yep. Well, we hit 75. You know, I mean, I hit the numbers that we said we're going to hit. We've had 0 attrition. We've had no members leave. Because if they tell you that it's about engaging your members, that is one piece of the puzzle, but it is not the most important thing. Time and money is what it boils down to, guys. Time and money. So as you're thinking about a companion club, whether it be Impact or the Full Circle Club that Chris speaks about, or any other kind of thing that you need help with, when you think about that, you've got to think time and money. Because of all the things that I've done over this last year, it all boils down to that. I could be talking to this group, talking to another group, talking to another group. It all comes down to time and money. I've had clubs arguing about $2.89 in dues between the companion club model and the other. And I'm like, so you've got 20 people ready to serve your community through your club, publicizing in public image all over about your club, and we're arguing about $2.89, and they said yes. So it all comes down to time and money. First of all, the time portion, okay? I was presenting at 2 clubs a couple of weeks ago. One was at 7 or 7:30 in the morning, and I did remind them that there was no time police. You could move that later on in the morning because that's just way too early. Then I presented it at the Marion Club at noon. And I'm going to ask you guys to think about something. It's the same thing that I said to Marion. Because the reason why I created Impact is because I answered this question for myself. But you guys in your traditional club have to answer this for yourself, okay? I'm standing in front of Marion, and I said, this morning I was talking to the 7 o'clock or 7:30 club, and I want you to think about, let's use a teacher for an example. What is he or she doing at 7:30 in the morning during the school year? They're trying to wrangle that first period class together, trying to get everybody calmed down so they can have a great day of educational opportunity. Then at noon, when I was actually meeting with you guys, the Marion Club, I said, what are they trying to do? What are they doing at that point? Well, they're trying to scarf down a meal, grade papers, maybe tutor some people. They're involved in that. Now they stay, generally speaking, teachers will stay after school and do the things that they need to do. But this is the part that I want you to imagine. That teacher walks down to the parking lot and they get in their car and they go down to hospice, or they go to the public library, or they go to some place where they have to tutor some underprivileged children, right? And they give 3 hours of their time that day, and then they do it another day that week, okay? So just imagine that person right there. And here's the question that you have to answer for yourself and for your club. Does that person's service to their community, is it any less than the service that you provide to your community? And if the answer is no, then you've already made up your mind as to why you should open up your tent and include people who cannot serve the way that you serve. Okay? These are people who do service out in their community. They're out there giving it their all, and they just don't have the pen or the t-shirt. It's our opportunity to take those people that are already doing it out there in the community, make our tent larger, bring them in, and let them serve our community the way that we serve our community. So that's what I'm talking about. That's how I decided to do Impact. I also appreciate Ms. Brigg from Hilton Head bringing up diversity. We have, I decided in the first year to test. We didn't go after any one community at all. We didn't target anybody. We wanted to see what service brought us compared with the demographics in our county. And I'm glad to say that it mirrors our county pretty well. Now, do we need to do a better job of outreach? Absolutely, we should do a better job of outreach to maybe bring in more. But we wanted to see organically what it would bring to us at the beginning of the year. I'm proud to say that our club is 54% female participation. I'm glad to say that actually I'm going to share my screen if I know how to do this. Share my screen. We're going to go over here to this one. And I want to show you something real quick. Okay. Let's see, share. Bam. Let's see if this does it. Okay, share. All right, can everybody see that? Okay, this is the Zone 33 statistics that I pulled up. Here's the member age. The average or the most on the bar, besides the undefined, is 60 to 69, followed by 70 to 79. The district that I am in, 70 to 79 is the top, and 60 to 69 is the second. I'm glad to tell you that our Impact Club, the top age bracket is 40 to 49, followed by 60 to 69. But I'm real proud of our 30 to 39 and our 0 to 29 under 30 members. One of the things that I'll show you is, apologize, I'm trying to get this. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, a companion club, everything that they do counts for their traditional club. Everything that they do, okay? So my membership in Impact counts for our Rotary Club in Lenoir, all right? So the Zone and Rotary International sees this. And look at what we've done, combined Impact in our traditional club. This is our age bracket model now with the 40 to 49. We brought up our traditional model, and now the traditional model with the companion club included, the number one age bracket is 40 to 49. We were able to change the future of our traditional club because, make no mistake about it, that right there is the future of the club. Okay? You have to have a strong swath all the way across of each age bracket, and in far too many, if you don't know what yours is, go to district statistics or club statistics in DAC-DB and take a look at yours. And I would dare to say the biggest age bracket would be either 60 to 69 or 70 to 71 or 70 to 79. So you want your club, your total companion club and your traditional club to look at this. That's where you're at. So just getting on, I apologize. I had this whole wonderful thing to go, but Patrick and Chris got me worked up into a fury. I just love it when they talk. They just get me going and pumped up. And then I see Digit over there and we're like, yes, let's get this. Now, guys, I'm telling you, I'm going to just talk straight up with you. Do we have problems? What are some of the questions that I get most of from traditional clubs about what this is? So on and so forth, okay? So yeah, we do. We're the first ones through the door. So I'm dodging bullets the entire way on this. But as I've done this over the past year, I've learned a lot of things that happen on these. I learned why some of you won't start a companion club because nobody's going to help you do it. You're not going to want to start a companion club so they can break off and all your hard work goes to the next town over. So we've got to figure out a way, and this is the way, doing companion clubs instead of satellite clubs. This is a way you can build your traditional club model, bring more people under the tent, and solve Rotary's problem that every club has: members, money, and public image. Those are the three problems that every single Rotary club has, and a companion club model like this will solve all those issues. So Digit, I've spouted, I've pumped, I've done the whole 9 yards. I'm open to questions. Bring them to me. I'm ready.
Thank you, Patrick. That's awesome. And your energy is just outstanding. And I get energized every time I talk to you and listen to you. I love it. Are there any questions in the chat? Let me see.
We do have one question. Do Impact members organize their service separate from the traditional club? And do traditional members take part in the Impact events?
Lou, that is a great question. Okay, the great part about having a companion club is that it's going to take its signals from the traditional club. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to work. Okay, does some things have to be sorted out? Absolutely. But here's the thing. I told my traditional club members when I was trying, it took me 18 months. I'm a pretty good salesperson. It took me 18 months to close my traditional club on this. 18. I mean, I was like, man, I must think, I need to get out of the business. But we take our signals from the traditional club because we are basically the service army. That's how I've described it to the traditional members. We're your service army that you can wield in your community to do your good works. You've got to overcome, one of the great aspects of this is you've got to overcome the public image. Now, some people might take this wrong, okay? Please don't. This is just real world talk here. When you Google, when the top two questions that you ask Google about Rotary is, how old do you have to be in Rotary? And do you have to be rich to be in Rotary? You have a public image problem, okay? So when we have to make sure that every time somebody looks up in our county, they see a Rotarian in action. They just don't have the shirt that says Rotarian in action. You have to be in action. So we have changed the perception of what Rotary is in our county by being there everywhere, okay? And that helps, and it helps your recruiting because people want to be associated things that are popping, that are happening, that are going. They want to, I'm not even recruiting now. I'm getting people on our website making requests, say, hey, how can I get involved in this? So yes, we do take our service opportunities. You asked if traditional club members participate. Well, I would dare to say that according to DACDB, the year before we did this, we did 580 something hours as a traditional club. During the pandemic, by the way that we track our numbers now and the service opportunities going out electronically, our traditional club was ranked second in our district out of 47 clubs with over 1,200 hours, second only compared to Impact, the companion club. So yes, it energizes the people in your traditional club. When they see other people doing stuff and there's lots going on, it will energize your traditional club.
Okay, I have a couple of other questions. We'll come back to you in a second, Cleve. One other question was, what are some of your service projects, Patrick? Just maybe name 2 or 3 of them. We'll have a chance for someone else to ask a question.
Sure. The second part, I'm glad you said that. The first part of the year, I kind of had to temper expectations because you want the image to be that you can fully staff any kind of request that you have. I partnered with a place here called Teachers Treasures that does where teachers can go into this store basically and get anything that they need for their children, okay, in classrooms. Them, the United Way, our own Rotary Club. I picked about 5 to do things. We do basically anything that needs to be done for 503Cs. We were asked by the Chamber of Commerce if we could help them move their office. Guess what we did? I sent out the thing, told them how many spots were available, and it was taken care of like that. Just the other day, we had a request from Communities and Schools and Teachers Treasures, because they're doing a Stuff a Bus program at the beginning of the year. They told us that how many people they needed between hours of 8 and 5. We sent it out, and those spots were snapped up in, I mean, no time. How many people here go before their club and have heard, I just need 2 or 3 more people, please, 2. Yeah, it's all the time. You never have that with this. You never have it, because if you have the sheer numbers, you're going to get a certain percentage of people who volunteer. So it's just figuring out how many people you need in that service army, that companion club, to satisfy the requests that are coming in. Our average request for the first year was 6.6 people. But guess what? We filled every spot. We completed every task. So
Excellent. Thanks, Patrick. Cleve, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I appreciate this talk is very important. I wanted to ask a question, and maybe will have to go beyond the time of the meeting, but I'm a little confused about one thing. Those 80 members that came in, now, one thing, do you have people moving from the traditional club sort of into that club? And I know it doesn't matter because it's all one club. How do you, I guess I'm trying to think, if it takes a lot of people away from the traditional club, how do they still meet at noon, those who want to, et cetera? How do you do that's one question. How do you do a dues structure? Because I know if they're members of Rotary, there's some fixed costs to that. But I'm trying to understand too, what's the difference? Say, I want to know the difference between this type of arrangement or someone who's in your club who says, they're in the traditional club. It says, I want to work on any service project I can after hours. I can just never come to a meeting. And we say, that's okay. No problem. You're still a member of the club. How does this kind of differ from that?
I'm glad you asked that question. The first part about it is we have not lost any traditional club members to Impact saying, oh, I want to go over there. They're what's happening, and it's a lower due structure. We've never had that happen. Now, the great part about having a companion club like this is the people that you can save. We had a past, somebody was in over 25 years. We had a past president and another member who got transferred to the next county over for a job. We were able to save all 3 of those people and got them to slide over to Impact because it has a little bit less restrictions than what the traditional club model has. You know what I mean? One was a banker who was here for 20 years, got switched to the other one. He's like, I'm going to have to resign. I'm just, I can't make it up for the meetings and stuff. We said, switch on over to Impact. You can do the service. You'll get all your projects over your phone, whatever you want to do. And you know what? He said, does that mean I can stay polio chair? And I'm like, of course you can. You've been doing it for 10 years. Why would you give that up? You know what I mean? It's just a way that you can save people. It's not a way to attract. Now, I will tell you this, and I'm fighting this right now. The lowest hanging fruit on the branch, people will get. That's just what it is. So unfortunately, our traditional club models have not been really good at recruiting for the most part. So they find that maybe the easiest way to recruit is to maybe say, hey, why don't you come on over to our club? You know what I mean? Come to the Friday, Now, I will tell you this. Every single Impact member gets every single email from the home club. They get invited to every single meeting. We are close to mid-20s on percentage of people who are showing up to our Impact, people who are showing up to our Friday meetings. It's so much fun to introduce them to everybody. But I've said this before, and I don't know if you've heard it. How many people have had teenagers before? Okay. And if you tell them not to do something, they do it. If you tell them to do something, they don't do it. So when you take the pressure off of people and say, you don't have to go to the meetings, but here is an opportunity. Please take a look at the program. And if you feel the need, I'd absolutely love to meet you over there. I'll take you in, we'll eat, introduce you to everybody, da, 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 da. And that's what they're doing. 42% when we were Zooming, 42% of our Zoom attendance for the traditional club meetings was impact people. Because if you don't put the pressure on them, they will come. And it's a great part about it. Who has over 40 years of Rotary service here? Anybody? Okay, John, I'm going to ask you a question. I just need you to nod your head yes or no. If I could bring you 30, 40 highly energetic, service-oriented, community service-oriented people that you could mold into the Rotarians that we know that they could be, would that be something that you would want to do? That's all we're doing. I've heard, well, you don't support the foundation and your people don't do this. And you know what, because I'm going to go right into the fee structure here, Cleve. We offer everybody a sustaining membership. We do $15 a month or $45 a quarter or $180 for the year. Okay. We make about $45 per person, but when you have 100 people in your club, I'm making $4,500 on membership. Okay. Alone. And we don't spend anything. We don't spend anything. We get our shirts and basically that's it. There's no like cost to us. Okay. So the district is happy, Rotary International is happy, and my club's going, wait a second, you put on how much to our bottom line? I mean, it is like mind blowing. So we don't make as much per person as the traditional club model, but volume makes up for it, Cleve. Okay. Now, here's what the deal is. I said it was time and money. Let's get down to the money part real quick, because I know you got to go. Money should not be a barrier to service in Rotary. Do you know how I found out that I was a sustaining member? Do you know how I found out that I was a this and that? When I got the bill and was charged for it. It left a very bad taste in my mouth. I believe that we should offer it to folks. And then if they don't take it, that means that they just haven't found the value in it yet. But if we bring them into Rotary, they do service, they start hearing about Rotary, they go to some of our meetings. At 4 months, our Rotary Foundation chair sends some information to them, follows up in the 5th month, and then asks them, hey, do you have any questions? Would you like to donate to the foundation? Most people giving the opportunity to see what the foundation does, they will do it. And make no mistake about it, this is the 18th time in a row where membership has gone down. Next year, if we don't do something about it, we'll be under 300,000. Membership has gone down, but foundation giving has gone up. Does anybody here believe that Rotary has a foundation problem? They got a membership problem, so that's what we need to solve first. People will donate if you bring them in, treat them right, and teach them about the foundation, not jam them up at the beginning. I see Cleve smiling. Did I answer your question, Cleve?
Yes, you gave a lot of different ideas, and I mean those are great ideas. Love your enthusiasm, and we have to think outside the box. So I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Those are all the questions in the chat. Digit, I'll turn it right back to you.
Okay, thank you, Lou. Patrick Logano, Patrick Eads, Chris Jones, thank you so much, guys, for such an energetic and thought-provoking session today. I hope everyone got as much out of it as I did. It fuels me to keep going this year and to help each of your clubs grow in Rotary. And please reach out to us for any questions and continue. We're 5 minutes past today, but I appreciate everyone. Nobody logged off, so that's a great testament to the speakers we had today and the discussion. So moving forward next week, we will be listening to Sandy Olson and her new ideas on Discover Rotary and complacency in Rotary. And we'll hear from our own past district governor, David Terrard, as he is our membership engagement director, the MED, if you will. So one last thought today, I meant to mention at the beginning, our district is +8 in membership last week. So let's keep it going. And you guys have a great weekend and take care, and we'll see you next Friday.